Everything begins long before electricity. The history of the computer is not the history of a machine, but the history of our obsession with externalizing logic. Thousands of years ago, the abacus was already an attempt to move data processing from the brain to the hands. But the true conceptual leap occurred in the 17th century with geniuses such as Blaise Pascal and Gottfried Leibniz. Pascal created the Pascaline to help his father, a tax collector, perform addition and subtraction. Leibniz went further. He built a machine capable of multiplying and dividing, but more importantly, he was a man who refined the binary system. He realized that any complex logic could be reduced to zeros and ones. He did not have the hardware, but he already had the language of the future. We then jump to the 19th century with Charles Babbage. He was the man who tried to build a computer made of metal and steam. His difference engine and the later analytical engine were purely mechanical concepts, yet they already contain what you know well today: memory, a processing unit, and data input through punch cards, an idea borrowed from the textile looms of Joseph Marie Jacquard. Alongside him stands Ada Lovelace. While Babbage saw a giant calculator, Ada saw what no one else did. She wrote the first algorithm in history, designed to be processed by a machine. She understood that if a machine could manipulate symbols, it could create music, art, and science. She foresaw modern computing 100 years before the first chip ever existed. The story accelerates during the Second World War. The world needed to break Nazi codes and calculate missile trajectories. Enter Alan Turing. He not only helped in the war with the bomb machine, but also gave us the Turing machine, the theoretical concept that a machine, given enough instructions, could solve any mathematical problem. At the same time, in the United States, the ENIAC was born. It weighed 30 tons and used 18,000 vacuum tubes. These tubes were essentially light bulbs that burned out constantly. Programming the ENIAC did not mean typing code. It meant connecting cables and manually flipping switches. It was here that John von Neumann established the architecture we still use today. The idea that programs and data should reside in the same memory space. The major bottleneck was the vacuum tube. They were large, slow, and unreliable. In 1947, at Bell Laboratories, 3 men created the transistor. This changed everything. The transistor does the same job as a vacuum tube. It acts as a switch, but it is solid, tiny, and nearly eternal. From that point on, history became a race toward miniaturization. We moved from individual transistors to integrated circuits, chips, where thousands of transistors are placed on a single slice of silicon. In 1971, Intel released the 4004, the first microprocessor. For the first time, the brain of an entire computer fit on the tip of a finger. Until the 1970s, computers were exclusive to governments and banks. But the homebrew computer club movement in California changed the game. Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs created the Apple I and Apple II, proving that ordinary people wanted machines in their homes. IBM realized it was falling behind, rushed to launch the IBM PC in 1981. They did not want to manufacture everything themselves, so they outsourced the operating system to a small company called Microsoft. Bill Gates understood that power did not lie in hardware, the metal, but in software, the intelligence. During the 1980s and 1990s, graphical user interfaces emerged. We moved from black and green command lines to windows, icons, and mice, a technology developed at Xerox PARC, but popularized by the Macintosh and later by Windows. In 1989, Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web. The computer ceased to be an isolated calculation tool and became a window to the world. computing became distributed. In the 2000s, Moore's law continued relentlessly. Processing power doubled every 2 years while costs fell. In 2007, the iPhone transformed computer into something we carry in our pockets, integrated with GPS cameras and sensors. We stopped using computer merely as a tool and began to live inside it. Today, we have reached the physical limits of silicon. Transistors are so small that electrons begin to leak through quantum tunneling. As a result, the story now splits into two fronts: quantum computing, which abandons traditional bits in favor of qubits, and artificial intelligence, where hardware is optimized not to follow step-by-step instructions, but to simulate neural networks that learn from data. We have gone from counting stones on sandy boards to machines that can simulate reality, diagnose diseases, and perhaps surpass our own cognitive abilities. The computer is no longer just a tool we use. It is the fabric of modern civilization. If you followed this journey from Babbage's gears to the GPU clusters processing language models today, you have realized that technology does not stop. It simply disguises itself within our daily lives. Understanding this evolution is the first step toward not being run over by it. If this deep dive into the history of computing added value for you, don't forget to leave a like. It signals to the algorithm that dense, technical content also has its place here on YouTube. And to keep deciphering the future through technology, subscribe to the channel. The story continues in the next videos.